Is the BLU V91 worth buying in 2021? Well, in this video, we're gonna find out. What's going on, guys? Kalipas Tech here, coming back at you with another video. In this video, we're gonna be taking a look at the BLU V91 and going over what kind of value it provides in 2021. So let's get into it. To start, this phone has a 6.5-inch IPS LCD display with a resolution of 720p, a PPI of 270, an aspect ratio of 20:9, and a screen to body ratio of 82.3%. We got a hole punch up here for the front facing camera that looks real nice and clean. And this camera is 16 megapixels. Right now, I do have the brightness at 100%, and I would say that even though it's only 720p, it looks really nice. The size is perfect in my opinion. It's big enough to give you the advantages of having a larger screen for stuff like video streaming and reading and all that, but also it's not so big that it's uncomfortable to hold in your hand or carry in your pocket. In addition to that, the phone has a decently slim design to add to this effect, so it's really not bulky at all. And the back looks really nice. It's got this interesting texture and I really like the color. It really works with the look of the phone, and not only that, but it doesn't really pick up very many fingerprints, so you won't have to worry as much about getting it dirty. This phone has 128 gigabytes of internal storage with microSD card expansion, so that's really impressive. For a phone in this price range, there's really nothing better than 128 gigabytes, so you're really at the top as far as storage goes. And in addition to that, if you have lots of photos and videos, you can always put them on a microSD card as well. For the average user, you're not even gonna get close to running out of space. And even if you're a power user and have lots of different apps and photos and videos and stuff, it's still gonna be perfectly fine. There's no wireless charging with this phone, but there is a fingerprint scanner right here on the back, as well as face unlock. Let's go ahead and give the fingerprint scanner a try and see how it works. So we are all locked up right now, and there we go. One more time. And as you can see, this fingerprint scanner is really fast and responsive, no issues there. For the rear camera setup of this phone, we have a 16 megapixel rear camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide camera, a 2 megapixel macro camera, and a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera. So it's a real good setup, has a little bit of everything. Whether you just like to take normal photos or maybe some portrait photos, or you like to use more specialized features like an ultra wide camera or a macro camera, this phone really has it all. And take a look at this. This is a photo taken with the rear camera of the phone, and as you can see, it does look really nice. The quality of the image is really good. The sharpness is perfect, really sharp without being too much. The colors are well balanced and the lighting is handled really well. This is a photo taken with the ultra wide camera of the phone. Again, it's a real nice photo, and a lot of the time with ultra wide cameras on phones in this price range that are more entry level, there's a lot of distortion around the edges, but with this photo, there's really not. It does look really nice. This is a photo taken with the macro camera of the phone, and I was actually pretty surprised about how good it turned out. So if you like getting those really close-up pictures with the macro camera, this phone is going to be a good option because it takes really good macro photos. For video, this phone has a max quality of 1080p in both the rear and front cameras, but keep in mind the display is only 720p. So when you're viewing those videos on this phone, you're only gonna see the videos you shoot in 720p. You're only gonna see them in 720p. Internally, this phone is getting 4 gigabytes of RAM with the MediaTek MT6 762V processor. I ran a Geekbench 5 benchmark test on the phone, and it came back with a single core score of 139 and a multi-core score of 856. So this is probably one of the few areas of this phone where I think you can do a lot better for the price. This processing power is not bad, I wouldn't say that, but at the same time, there are several phones in this price range that are significantly better. So if you're only using your phone for basic activities like sending text messages, making calls, using the camera, maybe some light web browsing or social media use, then this is still going to be perfectly fine. But if you're expecting a faster device that can do a little bit more, like maybe some mobile gaming or video editing, then you're probably going to be disappointed. That being said, I haven't had any performance issues with this phone, so despite not being quite as powerful as several other phones in its price range, I would say that it still is pretty decent. This phone has a 5000 milliamp hour battery that supports 10-watt fast charging, so that's actually really impressive. One of the biggest batteries you can get, at least in the US. This phone is not only going to have a ton of life per charge, but you're also not going to notice it wearing out nearly as quickly as some of the other phones that have smaller batteries, like the iPhone 12 for example, that has a 2815 milliamp hour battery. That phone is going to wear down to the point where you need to replace it a lot faster than this phone. So if you like to get one phone and keep it for a long period of time, then the BLU V91 is going to be a good choice for that purpose. So in conclusion, is the BLU V91 worth buying in 2021? I would definitely say so. For its price, almost every point about this phone is a good one. Despite only having a 720p display, pretty much every phone in this price range is going to be in the same situation. And this phone's display looks better than a lot of them. Not only that, but it's the perfect size, not too big and not too small. It's going to be just right for stuff like content consumption, whether you're streaming videos, reading, viewing photos. All of that is going to be good on this phone. This phone is also at the top when it comes to storage. In this price range, you're not going to get any higher than 128 gigabytes, especially with the micro SD card expansion. And even then, there are really not very many phones in this price range that are at this level. So if you're a power user and have lots of photos and videos, or lots of different apps like games, then it's going to be a real good thing to have this much storage. The camera setup is good as well. You have pretty much every camera feature available to you that's offered in entry-level to mid-range phones. And not only that, but all those features actually do work really well. Whereas with some phones, even if they have like an ultra-wide camera or a macro camera, they're not always very good, because in lower end phones, they tend to put lower quality parts in them. But with this phone, every camera in this phone's camera setup is really good, and it can shoot pretty decent videos as well. The battery is also really impressive. Honestly, the only thing that I would say isn't too great about this phone is its processor. That's the only spot where I think that for this phone's price range, it is a little bit behind, because there are lots of phones out there in a similar price range that have noticeably more powerful processors. But if that's not too much of a concern for you, if you're only using your phone for basic activities, then this phone is going to provide you with a great amount of value in 2021. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you found this information useful as well. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And as always, I will see you in the next video.